Tulsi Gabbard, is she a good person? Well, I do not know. For United States to be nominated as the National Intelligence Director by Donald Trump is something we do not know yet, but looks like we are getting some information, actually a lot of them these days, especially when we are going through all of those hearing procedures at the Senate. Let's take a look at some of this commentary first, then I will play the video where Tulsi Gabbard was exposed, or she was asked about her connection with Hezbollah. But even people like John Bolton calls her dangerous, literally. So let's start with that. But before I move on, just to remind you, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. Let's take a listen at this video from John Bolton first.
I thought there were a trio of Trump nominations here that were really in a category by themselves, not just incompetent, but dangerous to the United States. One was Matt Gaetz. He's gone. The remaining two are Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel for the FBI. Not only are they not qualified, they have done things through the course of their career that show they don't have the judgment or the character, frankly, to hold such sensitive positions. I think this is a real danger for the United States in both cases. I think in Tulsi Gabbard's case, she said things and done things that show a lack of judgment that should keep her as far away from classified information as possible.
Wow, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Yeah, John Bolton, who a lot of people believe that he's a warmonger, is calling Tulsi Gabbard, she's worse than me. She can actually vouch for complete and 100% support to Donald Trump for any war against any country she personally thinks is going to be a threat. She doesn't really have much of a knowledge. She's not a person who knows how intelligence community work, but nevertheless, she did get the job. And now, obviously, looking back at some of her tweets, why I'm saying she's pro-war, looking back at her tweets, she is actually not happy with Japan. She said this about Japan. Tulsi Gabbard, as we remember Japan's aggression in the Pacific, we need to ask ourselves this question: is the remilitarization of Japan, which is presently underway, truly a good idea? We need to be careful that short-sighted, self-serving leaders do not end up bringing us again face to face with a remilitarized Japan. I mean, what was she thinking? She was thinking that Japan should not be armed, that Japan, if they have a good military, they're going to be a big threat. So basically, she's trying to disarm Japan. They do not have the right to defend themselves because of what they have done in World War II. Wow, this is Tulsi Gabbard for you with all kind of weird ideas and notions. She does have this problem with Japan and also some other countries. She supports the dictators. She's completely against anybody who will be trying to overthrow a dictator in the Middle East. But now she is also against anybody who will be supporting Japan militarily. Not only this, that John Bolton is talking about her, against her, I should say, but also former FBI, CIA head has voiced his concern about Tulsi Gabbard. Take a listen.
Headline: Former FBI and CIA head prods Senate to reject Patel Gabbard. And that article begins: a former head of the FBI and CIA is raising objections over whether Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, President-elect Donald Trump's picks to be director of the FBI and national intelligence, respectively, are qualified to serve in the cabinet. In a letter to senators on Thursday, William Webster, the only person to lead both the FBI and CIA, wrote that neither nominee meets the demands of top intelligence jobs.
Absolutely, they do not. They are not qualified. Kash Patel or Tulsi Gabbard. We might see her disappear, just like Matt Gaetz got disappeared. But something we'll have to find out. Now, take a listen at this Senate hearing where she was questioned about her tie or connection with Hezbollah. Take a listen.
As you know, there has been speculation in the press that you met with Hezbollah, a terrorist organization affiliated with Iran. Have you ever knowingly met with any members, leaders, or affiliates of Hezbollah?
No, and it is an absurd accusation.
It is
Let
not.
me ask you one final question in the short time we have left. With Hamas ISIS-K, the Houthis, all the Iranian proxies in Syria and Iraq, Yemen, and Al-Qaeda, all posing general resurgences in the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. I'm alarmed at the lack of focus by the IC on this threat to our safety. We don't want to have to call you back to this room after a terrorist attack and ask, how did the IC miss this? Great power competition, China, Russia, definitely pose threats to our country, but the terrorist threat is arguably the most imminent threat, according to former FBI Director Chris Wray. If confirmed, what would be your strategy to refocus the IC on the terrorist threat to our country and to Americans abroad?
Thank you, Senator. I agree with your assessment, and this speaks to the need for the ODNI to exist, to redirect those resources, identifying the gaps in intelligence so that we are able to get ahead of these threats instead of coming around after the fact and trying to assess why did we not know about this sooner so that we could have taken action to prevent it.
Okay, so I do find her answers to be very, very shallow. She doesn't really show a lot of knowledge about the intelligence community, how she will deal with this kind of threat, and all of those things that come with it, because she is going to be holding a very, very important position. Now, Donald Trump, obviously, he wouldn't like it that Tulsi Gabbard will not be nominated. And at the same time, we are seeing that during the Senate hearing, a lot of these questions are coming from the Republicans that are getting actually vital. The problem with that is that these Republicans, when they're questioning Tulsi Gabbard or Kash Patel, they do not want to investigate. They do not want to dig deep into questioning and asking their loyalty or their ability, qualification, whether they can perform that job or not. But Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, with Hezbollah supporting or knowing anything about them in order to overthrow some regime, would she be going with Hezbollah? Who knows? Maybe she will. But this lady is very, very tricky, to say the least, and we'll find out more in the coming days. Thank you so much for joining.